Hello, welcome to the potting bench. If you watched the part 1 video where I showed these plants when they were at almost this stage, a little bit more developed, and then we went all the way until when they bloomed and we had nicer, beautiful blooms. Now we come to the stage where they are already done growing and they have already done blooming. Now we want to regrow them so that we can resprout them so that we can use them again. So what we do now is what is going to take us to the very first clip which we have. As you can see, we have already pruned a lot of them, and I retained a couple of plants here, and I will be pruning those to show you guys how to do it. But this is what they're gonna end up with. This is the final product. We will end up with plants which looks like that. And each plant, like let's say this guy here, is gonna turn into a bushy later, and then maybe this guy here will be a tree later, and so forth and so forth. So those are trees, they are standard trees, and these ones here will be grown as bushes. Just to recap, this one here, that's a tree, that's a standard tree, that's a bush, that one is a smaller bush, and that one is a mid-size standard tree. So these are the ones I retained, and I will be chopping these down so they look like this. This is what we'll be doing today. So in cutting down these poinsettias, there are a couple of things to consider. What do you want the plant and the product to look like down the road? Like when they start sprouting, how do you want that plant to look? This one, I'm training it to become a bush. The larger one, which you saw initially, it's being trained to look like a tree. I'll bring this down and I'll cut it too. But here is the basic principle. In the interest of time, here's the basic principle of pruning poinsettia. So what I usually do, what we need to do is you start by, first of all, you cut the flower. So you come closer to where the flower started, just after before the actual true leaf. So that's the first leaf, and this is the end of the flower. We cut that part. So we just cut the flowers. We cut all of them. Probably cut it too hard. That's okay. And then this one, just want to make sure you just leave the leaves and cut the flowers off. So you remove all these flowers. And then after the flowers are gone, still got a couple more. When you're done removing the flowers, now for the leaves which are here, you don't cut them, you just snap them off. So the leaves are snapped, not cut. The flowers you cut them, but the leaves you just snap them off. So we kind of like strip the plant off. There is a good reason for everything I'm doing here, and I will show you in a second. But we need to strip off all the leaves from this plant. Please be safe while you're doing this, because the poinsettia sap can get in your eyes, and the Eurphobia sap can blind you. You just want to be careful while doing this kind of operation so that you don't have sap all over the place, and especially not in your eyes or some of your open body parts like bones and stuff. And if you notice, they just wear the gloves this way, they don't come into contact with too much sap. even find them with too much foliage like that. It's a little tedious, but hey, you want to keep the plant and grow it into a bigger plant, or do you want to go and buy an expensive plant later? That's totally up to you, but for me, I'll just do this. As a matter of fact, if you do it this way, you will be controlling your product. You will be controlling the plant which you want later, rather than having nurseries decide what they want to do. And not only that, but some people live in places where you don't really get them to buy every year. So wherever you have, all you have to do is just keep growing it. And then this is the kind of a final operation for them. As a matter of fact, you see like this one, it has like water sprouts here, the small ones. We don't need those, so we just cut the branches themselves. We don't need those to sprout all over the place. So in the end, that plant becomes this thing here. It looks like just sticks. Now, the reason we want to do that is when you cut out the flower, you preserve energy from being spent elsewhere but in the buds. When we remove the leaves, you can see this one was already done. So this is where the leaf was. We snapped it off. That's where the bud is going to come up. So wherever there were leaves, those are nodes, and in nodes, that's where the branches will sprout and come out. This is where we want to just snap the leaf so the branch can come up later. And you reduce the size of the plant. This way we can control its growth and then the outcome later. So it's the same thing. This guy, after a couple of weeks, it will start sprouting wherever the nodes were. And that's how you prune poinsettias. So you cut the flower and then you strip off the leaves and let the plants rest for a minute, and then they'll start sprouting. When they start sprouting, come April, they will start looking like really like vegetative. If they sprout more than you can control it, you can keep reducing the amount of foliage in the plant until when it's time to actually redo the whole thing. So thank you very much for listening. This completes our poinsettia series from all the videos we compiled together. This one completes it. So if you watch the whole thing, it's a complete guide to taking care of your poinsettias. And that's how you actually take care of your poinsettias. So these ones will be grown again, and the cycle continues. We will bring in new plugs and we will start up smaller plants, but then we will retain some of the good looking ones to keep growing them until we have the bigger trees, or we have the bushes like the bush behind me. So what's going to happen here, in the interest of time, I just showed an example of how to do it in the smaller guy so that we can finish it quicker. But then this one has to be stripped, and the big bush behind me has to be stripped, and the tree too. So were all the other ones. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and if you have any questions, put them in the comment section, and I promise I'll get back to you. Thank you very much, and you have a blessed day. Thank you.